Hi, boys and girls. This is Anne Miranda. Today we're going to read an old fairy tale called Rapunzel, a picture book by Felix Hoffman. Once upon a time, there lived a man and his wife, and for many years they longed to have a child. They had a house with a small garden and balcony where they would often sit in the evening and watch the sky grow dark. They could see into the big garden next door, full of wonderful plants and flowers. No one dared go into it, for it belonged to a powerful witch who was much feared in all the land. One evening, as they were sitting there, the wife noticed a bed of beautiful lettuce plants called Rapunzels. They looked so green and fresh and tempting that she longed to taste them. This longing was stronger every day, and as she knew that she could not have any, she grew thin and pale. Her husband was frightened. "Dear wife," he asked, "what is the matter?" "Oh," she replied, "I know that I shall die if I cannot have any of the lettuce from the garden next door." The man loved his wife and thought to himself, "Rather than let her die, I will fetch her some of those Rapunzels, cost what it may." So at dusk he climbed over the wall into the witch's garden, dug up a handful of lettuce as fast as he could, and took it back to his wife. She made it into a salad straight away and ate it hungrily. But she enjoyed it so much that the next day her longing was 3 times as great. To satisfy her, her husband would have to climb once more into the garden next door. At dusk he went off, but when he entered the garden, a shock awaited him. For the witch herself suddenly appeared from behind a big tree. "How dare you come into my garden like a thief and steal my Rapunzels?" she said, looking very angry. "You will be sorry for this." "Alas," he replied, "be kind instead of just. I came only because I had to, for my wife has seen your lettuce from far off and has conceived such a longing for it that she will die if she cannot eat some." Then the witch stopped being angry and said to him, "If what you say is true, I will allow you to pick as much as you want. But if you come again, you must give me the child that your wife is going to bring into the world. It will flourish under my care. I will look after it like a mother." The man hurried away, quite determined never to come back. But after a few days had passed, his wife begged him so fervently to go just once more and fetch some lettuce that he again crept into the garden at night. How frightened he was to find the witch standing close behind him. Relentlessly, she reminded him of his promise. As soon as the baby was born, the witch appeared and carried it away with her. She named the little girl Rapunzel after the lettuce. Rapunzel grew to be the most beautiful child under the sun. When she was 12, the witch locked her up in a tower deep in the forest. The old hag took away the staircase and walled up the door. Only a small window in Rapunzel's room right at the top was left open. When the witch wanted to enter the tower, she would stand under the window and call, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel had beautiful long hair, like finely spun gold. When she heard the witch's voice, she would unwind her braid and tie it to a hook in her window. It would tumble down, and then the witch would climb up it. One day, after several years had passed, it so happened that the king's son was riding through the forest. When he came to the tower, he heard such sweet singing that he stopped to listen. It was Rapunzel, whiling away her lonely days with the sound of her own sweet voice. The royal prince wanted to climb up to her, and he looked for a door in the tower, but he could not find one. He rode home again, but his heart was so stirred by the singing that he came to the forest every day to listen. One day, as he was standing there behind a tree, he saw the witch approach the tower and heard her call, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel lowered her braid, and the witch climbed up to her. "If that is a ladder by which one has to climb this tower," the king's son said to himself, "I too will try my luck." The next day he came to the tower and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Soon the braid came tumbling down, and the prince climbed up to the window. At first Rapunzel was much afraid when he came into her room, for she had never seen a man before. But the prince spoke gently to her, telling her how his heart had been so moved by her singing that he could not rest until he had looked on her. Then Rapunzel ceased to be afraid, and when he asked whether she would take him as her husband, and she saw that he was young and handsome, she thought, "He will love me more than the old witch does," and said, "Yes," and put her hand in his. "I will willingly come with you," she said, "but I do not know how I can get down from here. If you will bring a length of silk every time you come, I will weave it into a ladder. And when it is finished, I will climb down, and you will take me away on your horse." They decided that he should come every evening, for the old witch always came by day. The witch noticed nothing of all this until Rapunzel herself said one day, "Tell me, old woman, how is it that it seems so much harder to pull you up than the king's son? He is up with me in a moment." "Oh, you wicked child!" cried the witch. "What is this I hear? I thought I had hidden you from all the world, and now you have betrayed me." In her fury, she seized Rapunzel's lovely hair, wound it round her left hand a few times, grabbed a pair of scissors with her right hand, and snip, snap, it was cut off, and the beautiful braid lay on the ground. When the royal prince came that evening and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," the wicked old woman hung Rapunzel's hair out of the window, and he started climbing up. But when he had almost reached the top, she leaned out and cried in spiteful tones, "Aha! You want to fetch your beloved? But the pretty bird has left its nest and will sing no more. The cat has eaten it, and she will scratch your eyes out too." With that, she cut the braid, and the king's son fell down, far down, and both his eyes were pierced by thorns as he fell. When Rapunzel heard and saw what had happened, her heart almost broke in two. She leaped out of the window after him, but reached the ground safely, quite unhurt. She looked for the prince, and when she found him, she took him into her arms and wept bitterly. Her tears fell on his eyes, and at once his eyes grew clear again, and he could see as well as before. The royal prince took Rapunzel with him into his kingdom and made her his queen, and they lived long and happily ever after. But the wicked old witch could not leave the tower without a door or a staircase. She grew smaller and smaller until she had shrunk to the size of a shriveled apple. Then a huge bird fetched her away to feed the young ones in its nest. And didn't that serve her right? If you enjoyed hearing the story of Rapunzel, please like and subscribe, and visit our website at www.annemiranda.com. Until next time, happy reading!